Hey everybody, Cody Menz here. In this video, I'm going to be opening up some of the large Holiday Op boxes here for Holiday Ops 2024. And kind of seeing what we get from them and a little bit else, you know, for things kind of going on in the game here. If you missed my other video, essentially I went over the tanks that are in the Holiday Ops boxes. I think this year, you know, has some pretty good things, especially with the Tiger Mouse. I think the XM66 F is pretty darn good too. In any event, I'm going to jump into here since, so these boxes, 250 of them, they are, you know, given out by Wargaming, you know, just disclaimer for that, you know, these are boxes that Wargaming gave us community contributors to open up, which, thank you Wargaming. But we're going to get into things here. We're pretty similar to previous years, so there's 4 different types of boxes, and, you know, Wargaming calls them large boxes, but basically loot boxes. And you have New Year, Christmas, Lunar, Magic. So similar to last year where you get different resources from different boxes, and then you can use those resources to update your garage. Going into this, essentially I have the GSOR. That's the one existing tank. Essentially the GSOR 1010 FB. Everything else though I don't have yet. So, you know, let's see what we get here. There is the pity mechanic, where it will basically give you one of the, you know, high tier tanks if you don't obtain that, you know, 1 per 50 boxes, which looks like we're getting this very cringy, what's it called, red child cat. Can I skip this? I think this is weird, honestly. Yeah. So just like last year, essentially the red child cat, it gives you essentially some additional assignments that you can do to get what, inscription, a decal, and 2D style, more or less, you know, for that. So we're gonna keep going through here. Otherwise, so like each year people always ask, like, is it worth getting these boxes? And ultimately it kind of comes down to, like, sure, there's the new individual tanks and stuff in, which it looks like we got the Type 63, which is the new Japanese premium heavy tank with the cooldown mechanic, which makes your gun more accurate if you fire slower. But ultimately, it kind of comes down to, are you going to be playing a game for the following year? And the bulk of your stuff that you're getting is premium time, some gold, and a bunch of other random things like 3D styles here, which this one looks pretty decent. Looks like they need to, like, go do some laundry, but more or less, the individual tanks, you can't really focus on too much unless you're getting an amount, say 250, you know, boxes here, that you'll cover yourself essentially getting 1 per 50 at the worst. Like as we see here, I've only opened up, what, like 7 boxes, and I've already gotten 2 high tier tanks, in the Tiger Mouse and the Type 63. So, you know, there's no guarantee, you know, that you're going to be getting that, which A7, E3 here, I find it kind of, like, don't get me wrong, I know Wargaming, which may be, it almost feels like they forget that they put these low tier boxes or low tier tanks in, where, I don't know, like, I like the low tier tanks, they seem fun. They're not all that great, but fun. Which, hey, we got another high tier tank here, and we're not even 10 boxes in. Like, this is where, or we're 11 boxes in. We got 3 tier 8/9 premium tanks, and Q yet another one. So, what does Wargaming rig the boxes that they give us to community contributors? That's up to you to decide, but I personally don't know anything about that. I don't think they do. I think I'm just getting extremely lucky here. But historically, it is the best time to, like, we're 15 boxes in here. We already got 4 high tier premiums. So I got all the tanks essentially that I don't have for high tier before the low tier ones, which is nuts. Historically, basically, this is the best time to spend money on the game, essentially, because you are getting a lot, not just, you know, out of the premium tanks, but also, you know, the gold, premium time, with these resources. Like, if you're playing during this time of year, you're also getting essentially more credits, you know, more resources and stuff for playing. But you know, if you're someone that just kind of pops in occasionally to the game, you know, they do ultimately end up bringing the tanks that are typically in the boxes back. The only exception to that has been the BZ-176, which has not showed up yet, although Wargaming did bring back the advent calendar this year, albeit I think the first or second, I think it's the first option for it, is the Object 703 version 2, which is a very good tank, but it's extremely expensive what they put in there. Basically, you know, they threw in some 100% credit boosters, which are extremely valuable, but it really jacked the price up for it. It's kind of crazy. So there is a chance maybe they'll bring it back for that. I really hope they don't. I hope they destroy that tank and, you know, nerf it into oblivion. But you know, otherwise, you know, trying to chase a specific tank like the Tiger Mouse, you know, you could go hundreds of boxes and not get it, depending on if you don't own all these high tier premiums. It won't duplicate the high tier premiums, from my understanding. Basically, you know, you have to get all of them before it starts duplicating them to give you the gold amount. So, you know, there is a finite limit for you to get all of them, but it is extremely expensive, obviously, to get all the boxes if you don't own them. Now, the 3D styles here this year, I had tried to guess to where, I think I had guessed the Cobra, which correct on, but they brought EBR 105 3D style. This is the AE phase 1s, and the EBR 105s apparently is pretty crazy to where it's a hot rod themed. It actually changes the engine sounds, which I have 8 more boxes till I get another high tier tank, you know, because it gave me them all in the first, what, 12 boxes or something. Anyway, we're through the first so like set of boxes here, and we'll move on to so the Christmas one here, which will, so through those first where I opened, what, 63? That's weird. 63, 63, 62. Alright. Yeah, I got a lot of tanks so far out of those first 63 boxes. That's pretty crazy. Now, something that is, which I'll link to it because I'm not 100% sure how. So Lesta, the RE region for World of Tanks, which here's the hot rod skin for the EBR 105. Deals with, you know, people using their content for videos because they're not wargaming anymore, which this thing's absolutely nutty, this 3D style. I'm sure it's gonna piss some people off that don't like non-historical things. So Lesta, and this is where, not making this up, their holiday ops boxes, and again, I'll put a link in the video description here for anyone that hasn't seen it. You're gonna think I'm joking here if you haven't heard about it. This waiting to get through this. So their boxes work, and like they have other stuff within the boxes essentially too. They have 4 different types, you know, just like Wargaming does here. They have, let's see, 5, 10, they have 11 tanks in it from tier 8 to tier 10. They don't have low tiers from my understanding. And right now, like, their holiday ops hasn't begun, I believe, but like you can pre-order them. Looking at their website here, yeah, you can pre-order boxes apparently, or maybe that's just a translation. So you have 3 different levels of tanks, and you have to get all of the tanks from the first, you know, level stage, before you can start getting the second and then finally the third. So in stage 1, they have the Type 63 Japanese heavy that we have, K91 122, which we don't have, something called that's the basically what the Sapson it says, but I think it's the IS3 Peregrine, maybe it's different. TO1 LPC and the Yag Tiger Proto, which these boxes here that I'm opening, you know, which I guess got a GSOR, so that's quite a bit of gold there. You know, so those tanks, essentially some new tier 8 premiums, but, you know, kind of filler tanks. Stage 2, these are the Lesta RU exclusive boxes, which to me, this just solidifies that version of the game. Hopefully will never come back into any part of what we have here for World of Tanks, because this would kill the game, you know, at least for me. So then you have stage 2, which there's a KV4 Turchenova. It's not anything that we have. It's like a special version of a KV4. A Char Lord AP58, which is like a French medium tank. The Object 780, yes, the Object 780, a tier 10 tank. The Lion, so assembly tanks here, another tier 10 tank. And also the Kampfpanzer 07. So in these holiday ops boxes, imagine if Wargaming threw in those 3 assembly tanks into the boxes here and just sold them to you directly, tier 10. You know, they're not premium tanks, you know, they're reward tanks essentially, but you know, they're in holiday ops boxes on RU region. But that's not all. The, I guess, craziest thing here is you have, so stage 1, you have to buy basically a bunch of boxes to get all the tanks for stage 1. Then you start getting more goodies with stage 2 if you got all those tanks in the first stage. The last stage is the essentially Waffenträger E100 permanent tank. And on top of that, there's a small chance that you'll also get the golden Waffenträger E100. And from my understanding, it's not like a German Waffenträger. So they call it, like, the translation says Waffenträger E100 Squire, but basically it's not a German tank. They made it a Russian tank. I don't know if that's just the golden Waffenträger. That might be for the gold one only, but they, like, it's the 3D style has like an AK-47 and stuff on the side. It's just absolutely freaking crazy. Just seeing that, but that gold version's only a very small chance, I guess, you know, to get, and the basic Waffenträger is a larger chance after you get all the other tanks, you know, before it. Yeah, I can't even like think about that further. But in any event, you know, I know I've been kind of going because you know, having a newborn, I haven't been streaming, you know, making as much content, but for anyone that follows, you know, World of Tanks news, I wouldn't trust anything really coming from the WoT Express side anymore. You know, they put out like leaks for holiday ops and stuff. They're pretty much wrong when it comes to our version. You know, they more or less, they still have an in with Lesta, but as far as the, you know, World of Tanks that we know, World of Tanks EU, World of Tanks NA, you know, Asian server and stuff, they, you know, they can post things that come in a client and like leaks and stuff like that, but you know, more or less the Lesta game, a lot of the stuff that you're seeing come out is from that side of things, where they're testing different tanks and different game modes, and now, you know, basically selling tier 10 tanks to you and golden Waffenträgers, to where that game I pretty much consider, you know, dead at this point, to where it just seems like a final cash out essentially, from my opinion. But who knows? In any event, getting back into this though, so the boxes here kind of cooled off a little bit from that really early start, with getting a lot of high tier premiums, where this is, you know, more of what you expect, to where, you know, they do have that pity mechanic in there for a reason, you know, with the more or less, you know, you getting one high tier premium per 50 boxes. Like, that's what you should be expecting, not getting them all in the first, you know, like 12 boxes or wherever it was. And the bulk of what you're seeing, you know, what you're getting here is gold, which, getting back to, like, unless you're going to be playing a lot, you know, coming up, you know, end of the year here, but also into 2024, you know, like, do you want all this? To where gold's useful, you know, premium account time, battle passes, you know, some other things too. There's also the advent calendar going on as well here, that you can buy a lot of things for gold, from my understanding. But, you know, this is something where you can't chase a specific tank, because at that point, you know, like we just pulled another premium here, you get the gold compensation, but, you know, there's just no guarantee unless you buy, you know, essentially what, 200, 250 boxes, depending on if you have all the tanks, to get all of those high tier tanks, you know. And is it worth it at that point? Not unless you like all those tanks, you know. Like, I like all the tanks, but not everybody, you know, will want to buy, you know, every single one essentially. Now, basically the rest of the holiday ops, I'm really glad that Wargaming didn't bring back. So even though they did bring back the weird gift terminal, I am really happy that they did not bring back basically locking a tank behind it, like they did last year with the object, what was it, 283, I think. Now, you know, on the other hand, though, they did, like, I'm just trying to find it here, because there's just so much freaking stuff here with holiday ops each year. They did, you know, bring back the gift terminal, and also the dog, Chaffee, and he has like a little bit better rewards this year, but still, I think the dog thing's weird. I'm just trying to find it here in their massive articles, which I'm going to post all these like little links and stuff to holiday ops in the video description, but everything you can find is on worldoftanks.com. The RU links, you know, I'll put in there too, but we'll kind of poke around, you know, real fast as well. I just want to keep on clicking here for these boxes. Wargaming loves to make things confusing here. Is this even here? Yes. So the gift terminal, glad that they didn't put in, you know, basically the, trying gosh, okay, I'm this is where this little thing, like 3 more boxes to get another guaranteed tier 8. Wargaming's probably gonna get me on that one. But that's for another time. Which crap. Overall, so all the boxes that I ended up opening up, 250, I ended up getting 40 tanks total, crap ton, and 31 of them got compensated in gold. 5 3D styles, you know, that's all the new ones. 59 decorations, the fluffy guest, 181 days of premium time, which my webcam cuts off a little bit of this. 165,000 of gold. That's a crap ton of gold, because a lot of that got, you know, the boxes with the tanks got turned into it. And then 12.6 million credits, and then basically a lot of these resources here, 50,000 resources. You know, this is kind of what you could expect, to where I think trend it a little bit higher. Which here's the little freebie tank too, the PZW-39, which I believe we're getting a new tank line, Czechoslovakian tank line at some point next year, with it, a new auto mechanic or auto cannon mechanic, it looks like, for high tiers. But getting back to the gift terminal, so with the gift terminal, yeah, I'm glad they didn't put a tank in it. But, you know, this video is already long as it is. I don't want to make it, like, too long, like my last hour-long video going over each tank. Which, if you didn't see that, you can always pop into the video at the end of this video and basically see my thoughts on each tank. The gift terminal, so kind of similar to last year. There's a 91% chance to drop little things, you know, training books, repair kits, garage slots, free XP, stuff like that. But there's a 9% chance to drop components for experimental equipment, and then also experimental equipment itself. The one thing to keep in mind about this is essentially to do the gift terminal, which, you know, we'll see here. I believe that's the gift or no, that's the advent calendar. Oof. Let's open up the first one here. Oh, what do I want? Come on, load. There we go. We got our stuff. So wherever the gift terminal is here, there's that little thing. No, that's not it. Completely lost now. I thought that looked like the gift terminal last year. Or maybe it won't let me. There we go. I was about to say, you have to reach level 10, like max out your holiday ops. And then it allows you to spend 2,000 of your resources that you earned from the large boxes to get another token. The one thing about this is, so experimental equipment's pretty strong, and it's really hard to get experimental equipment, but also a lot of components. So it's a very small, you know, 9% chance, but I would not put it past some people to spend a crap load of money on holiday ops boxes and trying to turn it into experimental equipment through this. It's not a cost-effective way. I do not recommend doing it. But, you know, Wargaming, I feel like, is definitely treading a little bit on thin ice with doing that. Still better, though, you know, than essentially the previous year, though, with locking a tank behind it, and it wasn't even a premium tank. In any event, though, you know, the rest of the holiday ops, and I'm not going to get like in too much here. So like, you do have Vinnie Jones. Some people were a little bit, you know, down on him, you know, to where obviously not as big of a name as, you know, say Arnold or Mila, but, you know, I think it kind of makes sense, though, you know, honestly, from Wargaming, because, like, it does target our audience, you know, in that neck of the woods, to where it seems like quite a few people from, you know, essentially the UK were, you know, kind of happy, and, you know, that's where I think they went with that, because their target audience is definitely, you know, Arnold covers the US, and then, you know, Mila, and then Vinny, you know, definitely cover a little bit different demographics. But in any event, though, you know, holiday ops, you know, this year, you know, between the boxes and stuff, you know, it's kind of similar to last year, where, you know, I was kind of expecting them to bring, you know, basically a tank into gift terminal, to where I'm glad I was wrong, because I thought it was going to be the crappy tier 9 M48 that they have. The rest of the event, you know, between the boxes and stuff, like, you can grab some things from previous years. You know, if you start opening up enough stuff, you can get things that you might have missed. You know, for people like me, I already have everything, so it's really the gift terminal where you just click, 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 and you get a bunch of crap most of the time, except for those 9%. All in all, though, you know, it should be pretty exciting, where that other video I have kind of covers the new tanks, but, you know, I personally think, you know, so for this year, which I didn't upgrade anything yet to get the dog yet. We got the cat, though. At least we're not on the RU region. They got a raccoon, and not a fun raccoon like Rocket. But when it comes down to the tanks this year, I saw a lot of people kind of like down on them. Tiger Mouse, basically best tier 9 premium, I would say that. Object 752, not a great tier 9 heavy, but it is a premium tank. It's a little bit fun to play, to where it's not awful. It's just the DPM and accuracy really hurts that tank. But, you know, it's different. Type 63, I like it. It does struggle a little bit, you know, as far as damage per minute and damage per shot, but pretty good hold down, flexible tank. XM66F, probably the best tier 8 tank in the bunch. That's basically a miniature, I feel like slightly more flexible T28 prototype. And then the GSOR 1010 FB, that is a really solid premium. It's existing, but, you know, a lot of people beat up on the tank, but that tank's perfectly fine. And then last, the small tanks, Vickers 6-ton, has baked in camouflage. You know, that's a Chinese tank, you know, not a British one, even though it's a British design. A7E3 seems pretty decent and fun. IT3 is really fast with a derpy little gun. And then M24 Chaffee, that's a tank that a lot of people, you know, will kind of, you know, like to wear. You know, it's something familiar. And the ARMT, that tank is absolutely ridiculous when it comes to the look and the gun, where like this part moves. It's just so freaking weird. But anyway, hopefully you like this video. You know, we open up some boxes, where thanks again for Wargaming for providing those for us CCs, and also for thanks for, I guess, hooking me to at least buy another 3 or 4 or 5 to get the next premium tank here. And yeah, hopefully everybody has pretty good luck with opening the boxes, and, you know, you enjoy, you know, basically holiday ops, since this is kind of World of Tanks' like biggest time of year. And, you know, my thought that essentially that I said a few times this video, where if you're on the fence about buying these boxes, at the end of the day, they are loot boxes, where if you're not going to be playing this game consistently throughout the next year, don't chase the tanks is the big thing, because a lot of the stuff that you get isn't, you know, the headliner, you know, Tiger Mouse and stuff like that. It's the gold and the other little stuff that you get in it, and random tanks. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in another video. Have a nice one.